You're watching Toyota Sports Extra.
Well, good evening and happy Monday night to you guys. Hope you're enjoying this lovely Monday evening. Probably not if you're a Pacers fan. Anyway, thanks for hanging out with us after Game 5 of the NBA Finals. As always, we appreciate your company. Welcome to a special edition of Toyota Sports Extra right here on ABC 10. I am Kevin John.
And I'm Matt George. Now, Kevin and I don't have a dog in this fight necessarily, but we're both sad because we're one game closer now to the end of basketball season. I don't want this series to end.
Neither do I. Is there, can they extend it to a best of 9 maybe or whatnot? I still think it's going to go 7, but we're going to talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, this has been one heck of a NBA Finals. For those who are not watching or paying attention to this Finals, get your life because this is amazing. All right, enough of us talking about it. Let's look what just went down on what you guys just got finished watching here. Let's get you out to Oklahoma City, Game 5 of the Finals, and check this out. For the first time in over 10 years, these starting introductions were broadcast in the NBA Finals. Yeah. Oh, I love to see this. And look, I don't know about you, but the Chicago Bulls of the 90s always had the coldest introductions. Outside the Sacramento Kings, of course. All right, to the game. OKC came out the gates and slapped Indiana across the face. No, really, the Thunder would go on an 11-0 run in the first quarter alone. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, smoother than a velvet pillow. Yeah, thank you, Henry Turner, for that one. SGA doing MVP things. He had 13 points in the first half. He ended the game with 31 and 10 assists. All right, now late in the first quarter, the moment all Pacers fans were holding their breaths, Tyrese Halliburton driving to the hoop. You saw him fall down. He's holding his right calf there. He would eventually leave the game, head to the locker room. He would return to the court and play over 30 minutes. By the way, Halliburton had 0 points in the first half. It's the first time he's gone scoreless and a half throughout his playoff career. He ended the night with 4 points, going 0 of 6 from the field. Meanwhile, Jalen Williams was about his business. J-Dub led all scorers with 16 in the first half, and I'm not even talking the fourth quarter yet. The Thunder led by 14 at intermission. But as history has taught us, you can never, ever count out the Indiana Pacers, or T.J. McConnell for that matter. He had 13 points in the third quarter and single-handedly brought the Pacers back in this. The Pacers outscored the Thunder 34-28 in the third. OKC led by just 8 entering the final quarter, but in the fourth quarter, Jalen Williams was a man possessed. He was getting funky with it out there. He ended the night with a playoff career high 40 points. Obviously, that was a game high as well. And the OKC Thunder go on to stomp the Pacers 120-109. And now the Thunder are just one win away from hoisting that coveted Larry O'Brien trophy. Whoa, this is getting good. Now, joining us in the studio to break down this game and talk all things Game 5 of the NBA Finals, the two flyest dressed duo in the Sacramento area. They stay cleaner than the Board of Health. All right, you hear them on ESPN 1320. You also hear them on KSFM 102.5. Talking hip-hop and all things. Ladies and gentlemen, you know them, you love them. Damian Barley and Kenny Caraway, also known as DLo and KC in the building. Thank y'all for joining us.
Oh, man, I love the intro. I love it. Come on, man. That's why you get paid the big bucks.
That's this guy. You know?
I wish you guys could hear how loud Kevin is in the studio, too. It's so loud.
Me? Loud?
Yes.
Those two things don't even go in the same sentence there. Anyway, loud was the OKC Thunder home crowd. Obviously, we've seen how much, shout out to, they had the white, I think they were wearing the white shirts and blue shirts, whatever today, but OKC clearly took care of business. They knew this was a game. They wanted to win. It was back on their home court. What did you guys see from the Thunder tonight?
Saw J-Dub, man, that's what I saw. This game looked a lot like the entire series, though. You have moments where it looks like, man, OKC's going to pull away. We were watching in the first quarter, like, man, this thing might get out of hand. This feels. The Pacers, Rick Carlisle's calling timeouts on 5-point runs, which I think is the smart move. And it just kept, the 5 turned to 7, the 7 turned to 9. It's like, oh, this is getting tough. And then here come the Pacers. And with Tyrese having the game that he had, with his health being what it is, it just wasn't enough tonight.
Yeah, when you get this far into the series, you're looking at a battle of wills. We played 4 games up to this point. There's not much more that you can scout. Everybody knows what the other team is running, what they like to do. It's about execution. It's about who can execute in those tight moments to actually get the job done. And we saw J-Dub and SGA do a poor man's version of Kyrie and LeBron, because it wasn't two 40-point games, but they brought Oklahoma City home today. And you look at Tyrese Halliburton, and Dame will tell you, there's two things that I'm definitely afraid of. Robots and calf strains. And I know he's probably going to try to play. I wouldn't be mad if Tyrese didn't play at all.
So they're calling it calf tightness, and this is in lieu of the sore ankle. And like, once you, man, I don't like the direction this is going. But at the same time, he toughened through it. Like, they were in that game. They had a chance to do what they did in game one. But they had a 2-minute stretch. It might have only been 90 seconds where they just kept turning the ball over. They turned the ball over on 4 straight possessions, and the game ended right there. That was like with 5 minutes left. They had a chance in that fourth quarter, but that stretch of 2 minutes or whatever it was, it took it all away.
Well, Tyrese Halliburton, just like the Indiana Pacers, if we can count on anything from this team, we know they're going to fight, right? They're resilient. They're going to fight for all 48 minutes. And tonight it wasn't necessarily Tyrese leading the charge back. Pascal Siakam overall had a really good game. But then there was T.J. McConnell coming in off the bench with that big third quarter run. I mean, that's why I say with this Pacers team, you can, one, never count them out, and two, they can win any type of ball game. And the fact that they were able to get within 2 there in that fourth quarter, make that OKC crowd nervous, I think that bodes well for Game 6 back in their building.
They can, Matt. They can win a multiple type of games. But I really think if they're going to win games in this series, outside of Game 1, they didn't see that. You got to have Pascal and you got to have Tyrese Halliburton. If Tyrese is hampered or not able to go in Game 6, you're going to need the game of your life again from T.J. McConnell. You're going to need the game of your life from Benedict Mathurin and Neesmith and Nembhard and all these other guys.
But
and
you might only need one of them, though. You might not need all of them. You might need one of them. If you can get Siakam and solid performances from like T.J. McConnell in the bench and then get that big game from like Obi or Benedict Mathurin, that might be enough. I don't think you can have nothing from Tyrese Halliburton, but if you get a little bit from that bench, the problem is there's that blood in the water thing right now. And I know this is going back to Indiana, and I've been resistant to this for a while, but this could be the Thunder's moment right here. I don't think it will be, but it could be, and you can see it all lining up for them beautifully. I think there's enough positives for the Pacers, though, to take away. They've got to figure out a way to score inside. We've been saying that since we were here in Game 1. They've got to find a way to score inside, and they have to stop turning the ball over. They absolutely have to stop turning the ball over.
Turnovers really were the thing that plagued the Pacers tonight. OKC forced over 20 turnovers in the game, and
some of those weren't forced, though.
That is
some
true.
of those, with all due respect, some of them they were just throwing the ball away.
And some of it was just careless play. But at the end of the day, when you look at this Thunder team and how they protect the rim, I think Chet had at least 3 blocks alone just in the first half. So when you look at the things that they can do on the ball, off the ball, the way they fly around to the ball and everything, that makes it extremely difficult for opposing teams. And one thing in particular that you guys referenced earlier was Jalen Williams, who kind of just had this was his coming out game, shall I say, in the finals. He had struggled the first 2 games, shall I say, offensively, but, this was a game where he came out, and not just him, but the Thunder in general shooting. They went, 3 of 17 from 3 last game. They had over 3 3-pointers in the first half alone in this game. So when OKC gets going offensively, we know what they can do defensively, but when you have that offense to match that defense intensity, that's a recipe for a Larry O'Brien trophy.
Absolutely. And there was a couple times late in that fourth quarter when Indiana was trying to make a run and close the gap where they were playing pretty good defense on SGA. You're doing what you want to do as far as getting the ball out of his hands, leaving somebody's got to be open to shoot it. It was Lou Dort. That's the guy that you want to shoot the rock, and he cashes out in those moments, man. And if he's making that shot, I told Dame earlier, if he's making that shot and Wallace is making that shot and Wiggins is making that shot and Caruso's hitting that shot, you just got to tip your hat. I mean, with guys like SGA and Jalen Williams, you're going to have to leave somebody open, and you just got to hope that they're not on that night. And unfortunately, those guys were hitting those shots tonight.
If you got 3 to 4 guys on your bench hitting 3 threes, you're not losing that game. You're just not. like the numbers aren't going to bear out. They didn't even hit a ton of threes. The Thunder didn't hit a ton of threes in this game at all. It felt like they all came from their bench.
Right.
And that means they're coming at moments that are just paralyzing. And that's what happened with the Pacers today.
Yeah, agreed.
Pacers got to find a way to score in the mid-range. If they can't score at the basket, and they've shown in 4 of the 5 games now, they can't score inside, they're going to have to find a way to score in the mid-range, because if they're just sitting behind the three-point line for 48 minutes, it's not going to work for them.
That's a testament to OKC. That's what they do.
No, absolutely.
That's what they do.
Absolutely.
That's tough.
You broke that code once. If this series is going to Sunday, you're going to have to break it again, or you're going to have to DeMar DeRozan this joint and score in the mid-range.
Nice DeMar DeRozan reference there.
Thank you.
You know, he's president of the MIDI committee. Right. At any rate, well, when it comes to president of the highly dressed committee, we know who that is, DLo and KC. By the way, Kenny, I had no idea that you were scared of robots, but I learned something new.
Bro, they taking over. They will take over. I'm siding with the aliens in that war.
Okay.
Let me tell you that right now.
Interesting.
It's the hard-hitting content you get over on ESPN 1320 right here.
Absolutely. Make sure to tune into these guys every day. They always know how to bring the fun and entertainment. Damian Barley, Kenny Caraway, DLo and KC, thank you guys for joining us on here.
No problem.
All right. Well, once again, Game 6 of the NBA Finals. You can watch it right here on Thursday night, ABC 10. Coverage starts at 5 p.m. In the meantime, he's Matt George. I am Kevin John. Do not go anywhere. Your news and weather is coming up in 30 seconds.